Welcome to the Food and Beverage Purchasing Doc. Welcome all you restaurant owners, restaurant managers, food and beverage managers, food and beverage directors, and all you folks in the hospitality industry. Today's video is about a particular situation in the banquet business that may be adversely affecting your food cost. I had been working at a fairly large country club as F&B, and when I first got there, the net wasn't necessarily in the right place. It was kind of single digit, and we all knew after looking at the menu and everything, the performance of the club in general, that a double digit net really was kind of where that club needed to be. So the best thing to do, and what we did do, is just start from scratch. We reviewed every menu, applied all the ingredient pricing to all the a la carte stuff, whether it was in the grill with the grill menu, which also was served in the men's locker room and ladies' locker room. A lot of covers at that menu. The main dining room had buffet lunch, and the nighttime is where the white glove fine dining was done. And covers were not all that strong in that particular part of the club. We were lucky. We had a lot of banquet real estate in that particular property. So, once all the menu engineering and stuff was done on the a la carte menus, we went and took a real close look at the banquet menus. And basically what we found was that the club was a real high-end club and very well known in the area and so on. And it was incredibly strong for golf outings. It had 418s. So that side of things were really going very well. The other parts of the banquet side, the weddings and the other kind of parties and so on, were really fairly good. There were some procedural issues we had to work through and so on. But one thing I did notice is that there was a decent amount of last minute stuff, last minute parties. Like one of the sales folks would go in and talk to the chef and say, hey, can you take 50 people at 4 o'clock today? And the chef would kind of scramble through the boxes, and we're like, yeah, I could do, and he'd come up with a menu item, and she'd say, okay, great, how much? And it'd be like, well, and he'd go ahead and shoot her a number, and away we went. And, not that that's bad, okay, but quite honestly, I didn't have a whole bunch of confidence. Here we are, we spent all those hours and pricing out a la carte items and menu engineering application to get that right. And here we are just kind of shooting from a hip on the others. So basically what we decided that we were going to do an emergency menu. To me, this was something that took all the guesswork out of things and made everybody's life a little bit better. And basically what we did is sat down with chef and our head of the sales side of the banquet department, and basically, talked it out, like, where are these coming from? And, and again, it was a lot of them were the real pillars of society, so to speak, in our area. Qantas and real estate folks and, those kind of people. And not that you ever want to let anybody down, but, these people are ones that we definitely for sure didn't want to make any mistakes. So when we sat down and started talking about it, it became clear that chef came up with maybe 5 different menus, and it was based on ingredients that he knew he'd be able to keep in-house. And we actually built up in the freezer some backup product, whether it was chicken based or whatever, because frozen chicken isn't what we really wanted to serve. Fresh chicken was pretty much the mainstay, but we would rotate out frozen chicken out of the freezer and used them in like chicken fajitas, or maybe chef would make a what do you call it, a chicken salad with walnuts and grapes, that kind of thing. And then frozen chicken, we didn't really feel like we're doing anything that would significantly affect that presentation of that product. But there was no more scrambling. And we knew the food cost was right because chef worked it out. And we came up with a number that, of course, the sales folks felt good about and so on. So it was more a matter of really getting our act together and not shooting from the hip. Now, this could even go, I could see this for that independent restaurant that only has that small banquet room in the back that may be 20, 30, 40 people, I don't know. But it's really good to not offer your entire menu to that particular room for organized banquets. I would get with your chef or kitchen manager, whatever kind of deal you have, and say, what's the right number for going a la carte? Now that again is the same thing we did for our salespeople. Like, there's some members, for instance, that, maybe want to show off and bring in a party of 10, but want a private room if you got friends in town or whatever. And we never really had before that talked about when is it no longer a la carte off of the menu, or a la carte offer 3 items or whatever, and when does it turn to have to be a set menu? Again, we worked that out between chef and the salesperson because every club has its own limitations as far as space and labor availability and that kind of thing. Well, so goes the independent restaurant. You may get with your chef or kitchen manager and say, okay, if we get a party of 20, can it be a la carte off the menu? Does it need to be maybe a 3 choice items? And what choices would they be, etc.? So basically all I'm trying to say is this particular niche needs, in my opinion, some conversation. There's no right or wrong. That's something that your individual operation needs to decide. But when it comes to food costs, to me, leaving things up to chance just really isn't the right thing to do. Hi, let's get personal, as they say. As you know, this is our segment where I try to just bring in some thoughts about what it's like to be a manager in restaurants and food and beverage. I had a long career and I loved it. I really did. I was supposed to be an engineer. My dad was real impressed. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. And one thing I found, I was lucky enough to meet a gentleman years ago who's probably one of the smartest guys that I've ever met. When it came to the love of my art, of what I was doing, and I know how corny that sounds, but I took my career very seriously, and it wasn't from a let me grow the ladder standpoint. Of course that was there, but I really did want to know as much as I could. And he said to me one time, Pericles from the early 1500s said, "He who knows nothing loves nothing. He who can do nothing understands nothing. He who understands nothing is worthless. But he who understands also loves, notices, and sees. The more knowledge is inherent in a thing, the greater the love." Now he said, the thing goes on to be, even more philosophical, but the point was that I saw so many managers just going through the motions. I'm even not sure why they were doing what they were doing, but they didn't like working, long hours and all that kind of stuff. And my answer was, well, that sounds kind of to me like you want to be a priest, but you want off on Sundays. It just doesn't happen. Okay, the point is, the more you learn and the more you look and the more serious you take your craft, the more enjoyment you're really going to get out of it. You're going to feel a level of self-respect, and truthfully, other people will notice that a lot of times they come to you, you have the answers. Well, it didn't you weren't born with them. you looked. Like, for instance, when I was a brand new rookie, I mean brand new, I got a chance to work for a California chain. I was lead cook, tell you the truth, and they gave me a chance in their quote managers training program, which meant, I went to 50 hours a week and no overtime. That's, but they did. They were like the Marines of the restaurant business. They really taught me well. But like when the guy would come and we had a problem with our squirrel cage on the roof, um, I went up there with him. And the manager was like, "What are you doing? He's going to fix it." I was like, "Well, yeah, I'd kind of like to know what he's doing, though. I'm not, checking him out or anything like that. I just want to get an idea. What is it about the squirrel cage? What is the squirrel cage, first of all? And second, what goes wrong?" And the same thing with the dishwasher. I know what a horrible place that is. A lot of managers walk through the kitchen, you know what I mean? They don't even want to look. And we're going to get into that in future videos about titration and how you can save money and whatever. But I wanted to better understand what was going on. When the booster heater crapped out on a Friday night, I don't know why it's always Friday or Saturday nights, but when it does crap out, why? How long are they supposed to last? Okay, it's not, for us, we looked at it, we'd always get a new one because then it'd be a capital expenditure rather than a repair. That's another whole thing. But the point I'm getting at is, why would ours only last like 2 to 3 years? Well, there's a reason for that, and we'll get into that coming up soon as well. My point I'm getting at is, if you really want to excel, and it doesn't even mean a restaurant manager, I don't care what you're going to do. You want to be a lawyer, all those things still take the same kind of level of commitment and wanting to know. Okay, that's it for Getting Personal for this week. Thank you. We appreciate you coming and looking at the videos. Hopefully you'll share them with your buddies and budettes. Please hit the subscribe button, and we appreciate it.